That's why they have the best record in the West. And Anunoby's first shot, he loves those corners.
Welcome to New York. This is what the people want to see.
Daniels, DiVincenzo gets it back. Inside pass, Anunoby throws it down. And out of talent. Brunson inside, feeds Anunoby, another slam.
Whoa, wait a sec. Did I see that right? A Knicks player who actually moves off the ball and cuts to the basket? Damn, that's crazy. So initially, when you look at this trade at a glance, what do you see? From one angle, you could say the Knicks gave up two young players who were still developing and supposed to be part of the future of this team, in exchange for a player whose contract is expiring soon. So why would the Knicks make this deal? And did they have to throw in Immanuel Quickley too? That is what most casuals will have you believing, but this trade to acquire OG Anunoby was the most significant trade they've made in a very long time. And it goes deeper than you think. There are multiple layers and complexities to this deal that you would not have seen when it first happened. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and without further ado, let's get started. With OG's contract expiring in 2025, and that's only if he picks up his player option, if not, he would expire by the summer of 24. There were concerns if he was actually gonna re-sign. I mean, I know New York's a great city and all, but to make a trade like this, you'd have to think the Knicks know he's gonna stay with the team, right? Well, there's good evidence to suggest he will in fact stay with the Knicks for the long haul. Anunoby was previously represented by Clutch Sports, but in the summer of 2023, he moved on from Clutch and changed agents, now represented by Sam Rose, the son of current Knicks president Leon Rose. You see where this is going, right? The Knicks have got to know that OG will re-sign with the team, cause I doubt Leon would approve this trade if he wasn't sure he'd re-sign. Tampering aside, he probably talked to his son about it. But this wasn't the first time something like this happened. Remember the whole Jalen Brunson situation? He has the same agent, Sam Rose, and he too arrived in New York with the intention of signing a long-term contract. It's a pretty similar situation here, so we can assume OG is staying. Plus, him and the Knicks have been linked together for a while now. Back in the 2023 trade deadline, the Knicks apparently offered the Raptors 3 future first-round picks for him, which I'm glad the Raptors did not accept. The Knicks had their eyes set on OG, and even though they couldn't get him then, they knew that this is the guy they wanted. Of course, eventually they did get him. It's always upsetting to lose two guys who've been with the Knicks their entire careers. Though most Knicks fans were okay with getting rid of Barrett, losing Quickley hurts. IQ is one of the best backup guards in the league, and honestly, he has the talents of a starter. It's just, with Jalen Brunson, Quickley was never gonna be a starter. And with his impending free agency, he would demand far too much on the open market for what the Knicks are willing to pay. According to NBA analyst Rick Bucher, this is what he had to say about it. Quickley, the sources say, is eager to start as a scoring point guard and be paid in the $25 to $30 million range, on par with Knicks point guard Jalen Brunson. Now, I love the guy, but he's not worth the same value as Brunson. The Knicks tried to offer him a reasonable extension worth around $18 million a year, but Quickley refused it. He always dreamed of being a starter, and that just wasn't gonna happen in New York, so it worked out for both parties. He's better off on a team where he could get the opportunity to play more minutes. Barrett, on the other hand, he's been the same player for years, and with the Knicks' 2 stars already being very ball dominant, I don't think he was ever gonna develop further. I can speak for all Knicks fans that the way we feel about RJ Barrett now is the same way we felt about him when he was a rookie. Those streaks of inconsistent shooting, those moments where he disappears and doesn't do anything, those lapses on defense, which has gotten better, but they needed an upgrade at the position where the Knicks struggle the most to defend. The patience slowly eroded away. I think it was about time to move on. Plus, at least he got sent back to his hometown of Toronto, so the Knicks did him well. OG seamlessly slid into RJ's spot and immediately made an impact. He is a different player than RJ. but he is a direct upgrade to what the Knicks are looking for at this position. In the 2022-23 season, OG not only led the league in steals, but his defensive impact can also be measured in the advanced metrics. He registered a defensive real plus-minus of plus 5.08. That was second among all small forwards in the NBA. OG's defensive prowess has been recognized across the league, hence why he was rewarded with an all-defensive second-team nomination. This is what the Knicks have been missing for years, a wing player who can take on the task of guarding all the elite wing players in the NBA today. In the previous year, he also recorded 3.6 deflections per game, good for second in the NBA among all players, which can be attributed to his great lateral quickness and his 7'2" wingspan. It's not just his defense, though. There are aspects of OG's game that are low-key and overlooked, but it makes him the perfect complementary player to the Knicks' main stars. For example, his ability to impact the offense off the ball is amazing. He actually moves off the ball, he cuts to the basket, and tries to squeeze into the best spots to get a good look. His effective field goal percentage in catch and shoots is about 5% higher than RJ Barrett. Very rarely do you see OG take a bad shot. When he sees the defense, he knows when to pull back, or when to pass it to someone else, instead of forcing a shot that he's not good at. This is in stark contrast to Barrett. There are so many times he takes what I like to call Kobe shots. Shots that will get the crowd roaring if he makes it, but they're still bad shots and he doesn't make them that often either. That's why, offensively, while OG doesn't take as many shots or score at the same volume as Barrett, he's always been more efficient in every season of his career. The two most important aspects of offense, three-point shooting and finishing at the rim, OG trounces Barrett in both of these categories. For his career, he hits his shots at the rim at a 70% rate, compared to Barrett's 60%, and this season in particular, that number has risen to 76% for OG. Consistent and stoic are the two most defining characteristics of OG's career. Although he's not the perfect player, he's the perfect player for this team. In the past, for those who've been around the Isaiah Thomas years, or even the Phil Jackson years, the Knicks have always struggled with managing their picks and young prospects. It was common to see them throw away first-round picks for washed-up veterans, and 99% of the time, it never worked out. However, in more recent years, with the arrival of Leon Rose in 2020, they've shown more restraint in their trades and signings, preferring to build slowly, piece by piece, as opposed to dropping all of their assets on one guy. The trade for OG Anunoby was very important because it represents how this new era of the Knicks handles roster management. In the past, they would have gladly dropped 2 or 3 future first-round picks for OG, but instead they managed to get him without giving up any first-round picks. He's also making way less money than RJ Barrett, so not only did they acquire a better player and a better fit, but also cleared up cap space in the process. As a result, with the Knicks making rather conservative trades, they've accumulated a ton of assets. Not all of them will convey due to protections, but this is still a lot. Since they already have so many good role players, they do have the option to dump all of their picks for a star if they want to.
You know, our plan was to work with what we have through player development, look at what's out there. We're thrilled with where we are. We really are. We're thrilled with the team that we have, and we feel like we are positioned very well for the future. 21 draft picks over the next 7 years, 11 first-round picks, and 10 second-round picks.
All right, that's a lot. That there's still some things to be done going forward with all those assets?
Absolutely.
Ever since Leon Rose joined the New York Knicks, they've been moving in a positive direction. And one thing that separates him from all the previous Knicks presidents is he emphasizes the importance of internal development. Building that camaraderie, something that's been missing from the Knicks for a long time. Even with all those picks, he's not going to settle for a player he's unsure about. He wanted Jalen Brunson, and he got him. He wanted Josh Hart, and he got him. He wanted OG for well over a year, and lo and behold, he finally got him, but in a deal that makes sense. Instead of desperately aiming for a star like the Knicks have always done, they focused on high-quality role players and guys who have all the intangibles and can build a foundation for a winning culture. All of their transactions in recent years have fulfilled their purpose. Another thing that Leon has excelled at since joining the team was his ability to read when it's time to move on from a young player. We've seen that with Barrett, but also with guys like Dennis Smith Jr., Frank Ntilikina, Kevin Knox, Cam Reddish, young guys who were once considered high-potential prospects, but they didn't show much of anything in New York. Seeing as how their careers have been since leaving, I'd say Leon Rose made some great decisions in getting rid of them. The Knicks are in a strange position. I've spent all video talking about their improvements and great moves and all that, but when it comes down to it, they're still not contenders. At a glance, you see this team and think, okay, they're a solid playoff team, but nobody thinks they can beat the Celtics, or Bucks, or Sixers in a 7-game series. They're most likely second-round fodder. It seems like they're still missing something. They have 2 stars, but Randle is kinda up and down a lot. Even in stretches of consistency, you never know what you're gonna get from him. It doesn't help that he sucked in his first few appearances in the playoffs. You could tell there are games when Brunson is literally doing everything, and Randle doesn't show up when he's needed the most. As I mentioned, the Knicks have done an incredible job of getting high-quality, high-energy role players. From Mitchell Robinson to Isaiah Hartenstein, they got bigs who hustle and do all the dirty work. From Josh Hart to Dante DiVincenzo to OG, they got wings who can defend and shoot. When the game slows down, when they need someone to throw the ball to and create something out of nothing, they rely on Brunson way too much. On the bright side, we have seen Randle at least make an effort in changing the way he plays. He cut down on his threes, he's taking fewer bad mid-range shots. It's a work in progress, but they do need someone who's more reliable than Julius Randle. Over the last couple years, I've never been a fan of his game. I've made numerous videos talking about how I wish the Knicks would trade him. But every year, he goes on a crazy streak of games that make you believe he's changed. Except, as the months go by, you realize he hasn't. He still has those same flaws he's always had. Randle is obviously super talented, but it's more so that you don't know what to expect from him. Especially because he's basically their secondary playmaker too. So to have the ball in his hands in high-pressure situations, he never responds well. It's a very iffy dilemma, because every other team knows his shortcomings. They know Randle's value is not that high. Even if the Knicks shop him around like they've been doing, they probably won't get anyone back with the same level of talent as Randle. The current construction of this roster is essentially built around him and Brunson, and built very well, with all these supporting pieces that really fill in all the gaps. It's just a question of how far can these 2 stars realistically take them? Should I be satisfied if the Knicks reach the second round and lose again? Would that be considered a successful season? Or should I expect more from them? What will it take to consider them an Eastern Conference contender? People joke about the Warriors and Steve Kerr when he said that they have 2 timelines. One with their current guys trying to compete for a title, and another where their young guys develop and eventually carry the torch over to the next generation. Prior to this season, the Knicks also kinda had 2 different timelines. They were trying to compete with their core stars, but also waiting for their young guys to develop and hopefully carry this team further when they do. That has changed. There's no multiple timelines anymore. By trading for OG and getting rid of the 2 guys that they were trying to develop, it was a sign that they now have one clearly defined timeline. No more waiting, no more experimenting. OG knows who he is as a player, and he's closer in age to their core guys too. By making this deal, they are telling the rest of the NBA, hey, watch out. We're going for the title right now, or in the very near future. Let's see if they can actually do it. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the New York Knicks. Can you see them being contenders with this roster? What do you think they're missing? What do they need to push them over the hump? To put them in the same conversation as the Celtics or Bucks or Sixers or I don't know, the Nuggets? Which player do you want to see the Knicks go for? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.